from you. So get those comments in.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening and a massively warm welcome on this blustery Sunday evening to the Red and Blue Review. My name is Nick Philpott. I'm your host for the next hour, and I am absolutely delighted to welcome back after a long illness, been on the medical bench, Jill Holyoke, and you're on mute. Hello, mate. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks, mate. Yeah, thanks for that nice welcome. Evening all.
And also the real panels with us, of course, he is Mr. Stato. Hello, Paul. How you doing, mate?
Hi, Nick. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I'm all good. Another unbeaten week, so we're going to have a good show. So let's dive into some good stuff.
It's nice to have a bit of positivity around the club, isn't it? Absolutely.
Oh, it certainly is.
Tim, good evening, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks, Nick. Nice to be back. Hello, everyone.
So we've got your knee
coming along.
All going bald and me looking gorgeous. Apart from that, we're doing pretty well between us, aren't we?
Could be worse.
But it is just so different to come on to do a show and have some. Yeah, you felt it yesterday, or you felt it after the Ipswich game, really. That look, there's people saying hello to you, Jill. I know you can't see it in the chat, but there are people saying hello to you. You can see it, good. And it's just nice to have a bit of positivity. On the subject of welcoming the team, I'd like to pass on a couple of messages to Tom Clark Samuel right at the top of the show. Tom, I know you're watching, mate. I've seen your message on Facebook today. Our sincere condolences from everybody at the team. Also, happy birthday for yesterday, Tom. I know today's not a great day for you, but happy birthday for yesterday. Those of you who are watching on Facebook land or YouTube land, can you please follow Tom on our Instagram page? I know Lucy's going to throw it up. She's gone into a Batman. Oh, there it is. Look, she's done it already on red_and_blue_ review. Like, share, follow, whatever it is you do with Instagram, because I haven't got it. Okay. He does loads of competitions and all that sort of stuff. Please give him as much support as you can. I can see everybody out there. Daniel, James, Damien, I know you're doing. Phillips, I can see you, mate. I look bald, already bald. How do I look bald? I've got full head of hair, unlike these two Muppets or three Muppets. Okay, Charlie, I can see you. Trevor, I can see you too. And everybody else is listening or catching up on the podcast on Monday and Tuesday. You are very welcome to the Red and Blue Review. So, boys, Joe, I'm going to come to you first, as I haven't spoken to you on there for ages. It's great, isn't it? Is it nice? Stop stroking it like that. You look like some sort of weirdo. For God's sake. For those of you who are listening along on the podcast, okay, as opposed to watching us live, Joe Holyoke, since he's been away, has grown what I can only describe as it looks like something out of ZZ Top, or he's got his head on upside down, one or the other. So, Joe, great to have a bit of positivity around the club, yeah?
Well, at last, yeah, it's taken a while, but, you know, it was always really going to happen anyway, just getting certain players back. And like I said, you know, we're just using Eze for 60 minutes now, which is, you know, and we've got other players to come back, which is good. You know, once we got Chadley to come back and Walton in the middle, you know, almost the full complement. And, you know, at last this season, we've had a pretty strong bench. So
yeah. You think anybody out there listening to this would think that you and I have spoken this afternoon, and we haven't, okay? Because two of the main topics of conversation this evening, Paul and Tim are going to be covering both the games. I'm going to be talking about the depth of bench, okay? And I'm also particularly interested in talking about individual players, and Eze is one of them. Paul, you were the ground yesterday. Just touch on Eze for a minute. We'll come back to it later on during the show. Wasn't his strongest performance yesterday?
No, I mean, he's had a few performances this season that have been not up to the sort of end of last season's performance, and probably not up to what we know he can do. He's got the excuse of the last week. He's also been feeding himself back in gradually, slowly. He's been getting an hour, 75 minutes in the games this week. But he's not affecting the game as much as we want. Hopefully, as the team gets more attack-minded and more confident, that will start to change, and he'll get more into it.
Tim, again, just touching on it, Phillips is saying it in the chat. Just need Eze that shows some interest. Somebody else mentioned Eze a minute ago, but that one's disappeared off the screen already. Do you think he's been lazy?
Well, I got lambasted a few weeks ago before my operation when I called out Eze, and I said that very thing. I said he just hasn't been the player. But I think a lot of it is his injury. He's coming back from his injury, and I think we do need to give him a bit of time. And I had to say, I thought yesterday he actually looked a bit more interested. He actually looked a bit more wanted to get involved. Right, he hasn't reached the levels, but he hasn't got Michael Elise to play alongside. So, yeah, I think he's getting there.
Good, okay. Evening Dawn, Teresa, we can see you. Nigel Croucher, we can see you. Mr. Holyoke, over to you, mate.
Just getting back to Eze, I mean, I'm sure he did buzz off of him, but he never really, they were always 50 yards apart. So one was on the left, one was on the right. They were very rarely playing, 1-2s with each other and stuff. So I don't think we can, we need to stop thinking about the Michael Elise thing. He's gone. But yeah, so he has to step up. There's the only thing I would say on what I have said is that, rather than have him just for 60, the game's at 95, 98 minutes now. I want him for more. And if he isn't, fit, then play Devaney. Devaney will give you 95 minutes of running like a lunatic. So, and then maybe have Eze as a 20-minute impact sub where he can go mad. And if he goes mad for 20 minutes, it's going to be the equivalent of just, having a light jog through the games, which is what it's looked like he's done for the last two, for 60, 70 minutes. I'm not caning him. I'm just saying he is susceptible to injury. But if we're going to nurse him, then we've had a player. We've said it at last. We've had a player that's come, from the academy-ish and stepped up. And I think, and he's proved that he's good enough. So I would rather have Devaney starting and Eze to come on. I mean, that'd be a nightmare for teams. Imagine bringing Eze on as a sub.
Yeah, I think a lot. I mean, I wanted to do this later in the show. We'll carry on as you made that point, Joe. I think a lot of it was it's a bit like the old Zaha situation where Zaha used to get doubled up all the time. They couldn't double up with Elise and Eze on the pitch. Now Elise's gone. Okay, I think we're back to the Zaha situation again, where Eze is getting doubled up on. Jason said in the chat, Joe, I thought Eze showed some neat touches, and when he's 100% fit, you should see him back to where he was before. And I get that, and I actually go with that, but it's that's not what we need at the moment. Okay, when he's 100% fit, we don't actually know what his injury situation is. He's getting over this injury, and he's only fit for an hour. Do we want Eze on for an hour, or do we want and semi-unfit, or do we need to leave him on the sidelines? In the chat, people, what do you think? Let us know, because we are reading every single comment that comes through. Okay, right. So, sorry, Paul.
Yeah, no, I think he needs to play. I think they're just managing minutes. We've got so many games coming up, so many midweek games, no real weeks off. So we can't be playing him for 90 minutes all the time. So yeah, I personally think you need to start him, and he's having an effect in games. I mean, you can say the assist was pretty simple. He got the assist the other day. He's involved in some of the good stuff. So I think we've got to get him back into the team this way, and this is the only way to play him back into confidence.
Well, I worry about what Phillips has just said in the chat. He said he is 100% fit. Well, I don't think he is. Otherwise, he'd be staying on for 90 minutes, wouldn't he? That's my thought process. Anyway, let's move on to Tim. We're going to talk about the Ipswich game first of all. Just a quick resume, if you don't mind. Jean-Philippe Mateta scored the stunning winner as Palace earned their first Premier away win of the season by beating Ipswich at Portman Road. And talking to you through the highlights is Tim Richards.
Yeah, so last Tuesday, I believe it was, Palace away to Ipswich. Got the lineup. Thanks, Lucy. Henderson, Munoz, Lacroix, Chalabar, Gay, Mitchell, Hughes, Doucouré, Sarr, Eze, Mateta. The only change, I think, was Doucouré to replace Lerma. So the game started. I've got to say, first of all, great Palace crowd there. I think Glasner said it in his interview afterwards. They couldn't believe on a cold Tuesday evening, so many Palace fans there. So it obviously makes a difference. I don't know about anybody else, but I was quite nervous watching the game. I thought we looked pretty confident at the back for most of it. I didn't really feel in any danger. But the longer it went, the more nervous I was getting. And I don't know if the players looked a bit nervous as well. But it wasn't really the best game. Not too many highlights, I think, to be fair. You had Doucouré had a good first half volley that deflected off Greaves, went behind. Chalabar headed over Doucouré's dipping cross. Mitchell actually managed to cross the ball pretty well for once, which was quite pleasing to see. But poor old Munoz, you can see he slipped just as he took his shot. He slipped, and it didn't really amount to anything. And as I was right at the end of the first half, Henderson, who I want to have a discussion about if we've got time later, the BBC quoted it as Henderson kicks clear Clark's header from close range. I don't think it was necessarily quite so much a kick as a fend, but I won't go into too much details on there. But he was in the right place to stop it. And that was half time. I think, Paul, were you there? Pretty much, I'm sure you were there.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, as you say, it was a bit of a cagey first half. I think we edged it. I mean, Eze had a good chance as well. He should have done better with. And really, the only sort of threat they had was the corner at the end. So we went in half time, and as you say, the crowd was great. It was just a cagey game, but it was always. We said at half time it's going to be 1-0 either way, and we were kind of hopeful it would be us because we were probably the better team at that point.
And it was just short 3,000 fans made that trip. Is my understanding. Somebody just said it was 2,900 made that trip, and you are to be congratulated because that was a bloody foul night. It was awful. And as if it wasn't bad having one Holyoke on the show, I noticed in the chat there's a second one as well. Michael Holyoke, good evening, mate. My commiserations if you are his brother. Okay, I presume you are. Oh, he's not your brother. Okay, Jill's saying he's not your brother, but he says he looks as though he's. Go on, Jill.
He's my nephew. He's my nephew. And the reason he's on here, he's trolling me a little. He's trolling us a little bit because he's a Fulham fan. But he is a proper Fulham fan. He does go. But yeah, so I didn't hear from him for about 6 months. And then now, obviously when they beat us the other day, I got a volley of crap off of him via text. But yeah, anyway.
Michael, can you tell me how you managed to go 6 months without talking to him? Because I'd like to do the same thing. Send me that information, please. Anyway, carry on, Tim. Sorry, mate.
That's all good. So second half started much the same. Ipswich seemed a bit more into it. Delap had a header, but straight at Henderson. Eze had a shot, deflected wide. And then on 59 minutes, the goal came. Quick break, lovely ball from Eze, great vision, knocked it forward. And Mateta showed really what the player has become under Glasner. Showed great strength, just basically nip past Greaves, his little kind of like feint, leaves Greaves on the ground, completely stranded. But he still had some work to do. And he came forward, lovely little chip, and puts us in the lead. Crowd goes wild. Boom, there we go across. And there's the usual kick into the flag. It would have been nice to go and get some more goals. There you see it. Thanks, Lucy. But again, not much later, probably I think it was on the 67th minute. Another forward ball to Mateta. He runs in. Maybe he could have squared it, but who can blame him? He's already scored one. But a good save from the keeper. Then on 80 minutes, Morsey for Ipswich shoots wide from distance. The only real panic we had or worrisome moment was 86th minute, I think it was. I can't remember if it was a corner or a free kick, but Greaves jumped really nicely. They didn't really challenge him. Headed the ball across. First Ipswich player missed it, and then it hit the post, and there was an Ipswich player right there, but he managed to knock it wide. And that was really, I think, the only threat they seriously had. So that was it. And then so Palace managed to hold on, and we got our first victory. Mateta scored the goal, which Lucy, could you bring up that image that I sent you? Because I thought I had no idea. And I thought it was actually quite interesting about Mateta. So it turns out for Premiership goal scorers, you've got Zaha 68, Benteke 35, Mateta equalled Milojevic and on 28. So he's only 7 goals behind Benteke. Now I had no idea he'd scored really that many for Palace, and it just goes to show really what the end of last season, this season's been for him. I just think it's quite interesting, really.
Paul, you're the stat man. I must admit, I'm quite surprised at that.
Well, he had that purple patch in the last season. I think he got 13 goals in his last 13 games. So half of them came in the last 13 games of last season. So it shows how sort of the poor return either side of that, really. But yeah, no, fair play to him. As I say, we've not had the most prolific scorers in our time in the Premier League, hence why 28 goals is the third highest. But no, as I say, it was a great goal the other night. As you say, Timmy, he put his head down, he got past the defender, and he showed real composure to chip it over the keeper when he was coming out. So it was a great goal. The away end went completely nuts, as we will do when he scores, and yeah, it sealed a good win. But he's been playing okay. He started the season not so great, which we all said, but we think that's because he had a long summer playing for France. All these
absolutely.
Things. He's playing well again now, but not scoring as many as we would like, or he would like probably. But again, that's down to possibly chances being created. But yeah, he's definitely worthy of his place in the team, and you can't see him coming out of it at the moment.
Joe, I'm coming to you because I've got a question for you. PR66, who is, I can't remember your name, who PR66 in the chat. Do we think that JP will sign a new contract or leave is the question. And the reason I ask you that question, Joe, is because there is talk that Leicester City are going to terminate Odsonne Edouard's loan spell because he's not even making the team. Do you think we should be signing or offering JP better terms, and what do you think of the subjects of Odsonne coming back for the second half of the season?
Well, Odsonne's not coming back. I think Glasner's pretty much said that he won't use him. We've got the forwards, and this week have a catastrophic. I mean, even if he does come back to the club, we'd need to have a catastrophic run up front of injuries for him to be even considered. But yeah, I know. I mean, the thing is, you can't hold the club to ransom too much, because it just depends what he's on and what he wants. I mean, if he's wanting 150 grand a week, then we just cash in. But for us to allow him to go to, I mean, let's say Leicester, what are they going to pay us? 50 million? 60 million? How much is a striker these days? Between 40 and 60 million. And then they've got to offer him the better wages. So, I mean, we've already proved that we won't pay, we won't be able to ransom with Anderson. I mean, all we had to do was pretty much double his wages, and the club said no. He's got probably another 3 to 5 years left in his neck. So I was surprised that we never. But then the club have been proved right by the 2 centre backs that we've bought in. So it's a balancing act that Dougie and Parish have got to sort out. But yeah, I mean, I'd be gutted to see Mateta go. My feelings are that if he was put up for sale, I don't think he'd go to a Premier League club. I think he would go somewhere else, somewhere a bit warmer than here. But yeah, it is what it is. Let players come and go. That's what I'm about Elise. I think he can. He always said he never made a secret. It's what I like about Elise. I go back to him again. He never had any airs and graces, but he never had any pretense. That he always said that Reading and the clubs were a step up. That's all they were, was a natural step up until he got to where he wanted to go, and that's what he did. He did Championship, Premier League, Bundesliga. So I don't think the Bundesliga is a step up, to be honest with you, but. He gets to play Champions League, and you can see what he does over there. So yeah, if he wants to go, and the club won't give him any money, then cashing on him, and I'm sure that that our guys behind the scenes have been proved that they are buying the right sort of stuff, apart from Nketiah at the moment.
Yeah, we're going to come on to that. We're going to come on to that later on. Paul, according to Andrew Adams in the chat, Edouard. 90 grand a week and a season-long loan. Do Leicester have to pay that in full is the question. Can we refuse and turn down Leicester's request to send him back? I don't actually know how that works, do you?
It depends on the terms of the contract. If there's a break clause in for either side in January, they can send him back. But as Jill says, Glasner said that he's not needed here, and if he does come back, he's probably not going to be involved. So he's probably making Edouard try a bit harder at it, maybe, to try and get to stay up there, because he knows he'll just be getting splinters if he comes here, even on the reserve bench. But yeah, it's up to. We're obviously not going to call him back. If Leicester have got a break clause to send him back, then they will, and then he'll be in limbo.
Well, that sounds like crap business from us if he has got a break clause. That sounds a bit like, because I know Jez has, Raksaki's got a break clause in his, and we can call him back, and Glasgow did say, make it clear that he's got no intention of bringing him back either. So Paul Holden, you keep banging on about it in the chat every frigging week. Jesmin Raksaki is not coming back in January, mate. Get over it, for God's sake. Okay, he ain't coming back. I know he's your love child and everything else, but he ain't coming back. Right, okay. Thank you for that, Tim. Paul, do you want to get into yesterday's game? Because I think there's more to digest and talk about yesterday's game, because it was.
Yeah, so obviously yesterday we welcomed the champions into town. Always a big day. Team line up there, thanks Lucy. No real surprise. I think Lerma coming back Lerma played well against Newcastle the other week. I think he played for his sort of strength, and Doucouré was sort of rested and came on Tuesday. He got booked in the first half, so I think he got taken off because I think he was close to getting sent off. But there's no surprise to see Lerma come back in the team. So otherwise it was same team. Started like a train. Sorry, Nick, you want to?
Yeah, I wanted to talk about the lineup, if you don't mind, and I get it. It's the right thing, I think, with Lerma and Doucouré swapping places. But that's not what I wanted to draw everybody's attention to. I actually wanted to mention the quality of our bench. For the first time this season, we started to have a little bit of background, something to fall back on the bench, with Turner in goal, Joel Ward sitting there, and Kleiny, of course. They've been warming the bench all season. But Nketiah, Schlupp, Kamada back from suspension, Chris Richards, Doucouré, and Devaney on the bench. I thought we actually gave our bench look pretty decent. Jill, did you notice that yesterday?
Yeah, I did. You're saying that. Ward can pretty much play anywhere, as long as you don't want him to do loads and loads of running. But yeah, just seeing Chris Richards get involved yesterday is good. But yeah, it's more strength in depth, which is what we've been asking for. And like I say, add Walton to that bench, because he won't come straight away back and play, 95 minutes again.
And Ria.
That's what I'm saying. But you add those two to that, and then it's a strong bench, because we've got covering, decent cover in at least 6 of those places.
Tim, Charlie Ria, Walton, and then maybe a couple of additions in January. That is a decent bench, isn't it?
Very, very much so. It's about time. I think what it also does kind of make me appreciate Glasner even more for his acumen is he said quite a while ago, so the problem is it's bad business to buy players in on the very last day of the transfer window, where there's no pre-season and there's no friendlies and there's no time to work with the players. And I think a lot of that, with the injuries, is why we've had the start of the season that we have had. And now we're getting those players back, more players back from injury, and we're playing better. We've looked really stable the last few weeks.
Yeah, and I think you raise a good point there, mate, with the transfer window. I'd be very surprised if we don't get our business done and dusted well early, purely simply because he's made a point of it, as you rightly say, so many times in press conferences. That didn't help, doing that late in the summer window, but it also didn't help with, and we just touched on this with Mateta coming back from from whatever it was he was playing. What was he playing in the Euros?
Olympics.
And he had no break, he had no holiday at the end
Olympics.
of it. Yeah, that's it. And the Olympics, of course, and then he came straight back into it with no rest, hence his poor form. And so Paul's just said in the chat, and Frank had to come back in the new year. I don't know who this Franker is that you refer to, Paul. I've no idea who he is. He must be a new signing I'm not aware of. Anyway, Paul, I interrupted you, mate. Sorry. Carry on with the City stuff, please.
Yeah, so game started and we got off to a flyer. 4th minute, Hughes got the ball in the middle of the park, played a lovely ball out wide to Munoz, who went in, low, hard shot target on target is what you got to do, and went through the keeper. And yeah, great start. I mean, my only disappointment was I didn't really celebrate that much because I thought it was offside. I sit in line with that, and I was convinced he was, so which is why I'm not a linesman. But yeah, great start. Munoz obviously second goal in a week. He's like, as they said, the old proverbial London bus, gets his first last week, now scores again. So yeah, really good start. Instantly my mind was flashing back to last year because we had the same start last year and obviously got hammered. But yeah, so it was going to be quite interesting to see how we reacted to that. But yeah, City started to get into the game at that point. Obviously, De Bruyne, Haaland, Gundogan, Silva. I mean, I know they've not been having good results recently, but they're still a formidable team that you try and keep out. And yeah, De Bruyne slid Haaland through, and Henderson made a great save. He came out, he spreads himself, saved it with his face, which he's done a few times this season. He's getting very good at that, making himself big, and it's working. Yeah, so he had a bit of treatment, came down, and then Gundogan hit the post, and the rebound went wide. So they were sort of knocking on the door, but we were still pressing forward as well. It was nice to see. We weren't showing them too much respect. We weren't sitting back and letting them hit us. We were trying to get forward as well. And we then had a really nice move where Munoz got the ball down the right, played it to Sarr. He played it into Mateta. Now Mateta perhaps could have hit it, but I don't think he was fully facing the goal. So he laid it back to Lerma, who hit a blockbuster shot, but they blocked it. There was a few block shots actually. Hughes had a shot blocked as well. So it was nice to see us shooting on sight because I think we've seen said times before we don't often have enough shots, and it was good to see things like that. So yeah, we were playing well in the game, and then typically they go straight up the other end and score a bit of a weak goal. I thought it was a bit too easy. There was no real pressure on the cross, easy cross, and then Haaland out jumped Gahey. I mean, he's going to out jump most defenders in the league, let's be honest. Unfortunately, Henderson had come forward to try and claim the cross, which he probably regrets now because it just left an open goal for the ball to loop into. But yeah, so I'm not sure he covered himself in glory on that one. So I'm not.
What about Mark Gahey on that cross? He was nowhere near him, was he?
Yeah, Haaland is a bully in the box, isn't he? Let's be honest. He bullies most defenders, and he's going to win most headers in the air like that, I think. Joe?
Yeah, I mean, firstly, Haaland was holding him down. He bullied him anyway by getting above him. He was holding his shirt down. But I was fuming with our keeper about getting beat like that for not coming and smashing him. But in retrospect, if he was standing in goal, I still don't think he'd have got it. It was a great header. Just it's one of them pure headers, you know what I mean? He'll have much easier headers this year as he's seen Haaland and not score. And I thought that was quite a difficult header. You know, he got up really well, loads of power into it. Yeah, it was a good goal, really. Much as I don't want to say it.
So yeah, Haaland scored him, and again, every time he's played us, he's scored actually. So he's obviously got it in for us, which is nice of him. First half then sort of panned out 1-1. I think all of us would have been happy to go in level with him at half time. I mean, we played well as well, so that was good. Came out second half, and much the same. City sort of were having most of the ball. They weren't really forcing many saves or many chances, but they were pinning us back a bit. But again, like the first half, we were getting out. We were having attacks. There was one. Hughes won the ball. Had a good shot. Another good shot. Hughes. I think we'll come on to him afterwards as well. But Hughes had an excellent game yesterday. Really, really good game. But yeah, had a shot deflected wide. And yes, from what we're now getting deadly from corners, having scored twice now from this season. Lovely ball into the box, and Lacroix rises above everyone, powers it into the net, which was wonderful. The ground erupted, and yeah, it was a beautiful thing to see. It's his first goal for us, and he's really got us. I think you see the way he celebrates with the fans, and you see the way he plays for the team. He's definitely Palace through and through now, and he really enjoyed that goal. It was great to see.
Him and Munoz, I both absolutely get us, don't they?
Yeah, as I say, they enjoy it, and as I say, lovely goal, lovely header, as you can see there. Powered away, keeper had no chance, and it's a shame we can't do that more often. It's just, and I see Arsenal scoring all from these set pieces, and I noticed when they scored some today, put the ball between the posts every time. I know we always miss the first man, or we go too far, too short. If you put it in the middle of the box, just away from the keeper, then you've got a great chance of getting runners onto it. So that's what we did, and hopefully we'll be doing some more of that. It was a great corner again from Hughes. Whether he's on set pieces now, we seem to have a few people taking them. But yeah, so 2-1 up, everything's looking good. Then yeah, Pep's not looking too happy. I was just hoping. I remember last season when we were scoring goals against them, there was a lovely picture of Roy laughing at Pep, and I was just wishing Roy was stood there behind him laughing at him after that. But it was it would have been quite nice because Pep went mad. I think if we saw his interview in the on Match of the Day after the game, I don't know what he was talking about. I think the charges and their form has gone to his head, and he's gone a bit insane. But that's another story. But yeah, sure enough, they're too good to be kept back, and they scored a very nice goal. To be fair, they worked it well on the edge of the box. Rico Lewis, again, another player who likes playing us. That's 3 games in a row for us. He scored for them against us. Lovely finish, put in the top corner. Nothing keeper could do about that, unfortunately for that. So, yeah, so 2-2, and then really anyone's game at that point. Still back and forth. And then Lewis got booked for dissent. He got his first booking, which was quite crucial to him. Henderson made a save, and then probably the remaining talking point of the game was Lewis's second booking and red card. Now, from what I saw at the time, I thought it was a pretty blatant foul and a booking. But looking back at it, it's one of those really tough ones, to be honest. I can see why it's a foul both ways, but either way, whatever way you give it, it's never a second booking. So he was a bit unlucky on that one, I thought. So there's this thing when someone tries to clear a ball and someone puts their foot up in front of it, you get penalised because you've put your foot where the other person's going to put their foot. So that was how we could have had the foul. The other side of it is Chalobah kicked Lewis. So could have gone either way. I don't know what you guys think on that.
Let's talk about that. Jill, I've got my own thoughts on this. I called this. I called it myself yesterday. That was never a second yellow card. In fact, if anything, Chalobah actually fouled Lewis in my head. Ladies and gentlemen out in the chat, what do you think? Was that a foul, or did Chalobah actually foul Lewis? Jill, what do you think? He's on mute, Luce. Go on, mate.
He's still on mute.
What about now?
Yes.
Okay. I thought it was a second yellow. If it had been the other way round, we'd have been screaming for it. So, but it was a little bit, I thought he could have had 3 yellow cards yesterday, Lewis. So, but the first, he sort of loses his head. It's really mad because I think they play him out of position. But he's a supposed all action player. He's got into the England squad on the back of that. So, but yeah, I thought it was a second yellow. Obviously, players get sent off, for something that as malicious. But yeah, and he had to just watch today. I don't know if you saw the game this afternoon, the Chelsea game. I mean, they're just dying, But most of our players don't do that. Some of our players are just doing that, and because everyone else is doing it, it's 95% football, 5% acting. So whoever screams loudest. Arsenal screamed the loudest out of everyone. Man United hound the most out of everyone. So, when you're playing them, you can expect yellow cards and the pressure being put on the referee. So, but yeah, no, second yellow for me. But you can see why it was, and you can see sometimes, if it wasn't given. I'm glad it was.
I'm just going to read through some of those comments in the chat. Mark Callaghan saying second yellow, it was a shocker. So he's agreeing with me. And Paul, his PR66, said he didn't touch the ball. He got the player. Okay. Actually, having a look at some of the others. It's one of those sort of things whereby if it had been given against us, we would have been really pissed off. Somebody else is saying clear yellow, second yellow. Robert Lee said second yellow all day long. It was a clear foul by Lewis. Okay, and go on, Tim.
Well, yeah, I mean, to my mind, he came diving. Both his feet were off the ground. He was diving in towards the player, and he didn't get the ball.
But Chalobah put his foot on Lewis.
But he wouldn't have done that if Lewis hadn't been diving both feet off the ground, nowhere near the ball, diving in at him. He wouldn't have touched him. It's intent. He wasn't going anywhere near the ball.
He's fully committed. I mean, the intent thing doesn't count anymore. We had this conversation a few weeks back about intent. You can't get the yellow card for intent anymore. I got a red card for intent when I was playing football years ago, but the intent thing has been taken out now. So, but yeah, you can see why it was. But I get where you're coming from, Tim, because he was definitely, off the ground. And even if you're going to kick, and sometimes you might kick it's not your fault that you've committed the foul. You've just got there a tiny bit later, or the guy's come over the top, and it just looked worse. It looked terrible as well. But the referee, he didn't mess about. Usually, when they're trying to protect the big clubs, they'll think about it, which means they're being talked to in their ear. And he didn't. He just issued a straight yellow. Straight yellow for a red. So he must have. I think the referee was pissed with him anyway, because, like I say, he got a yellow.
Too much of that.
He's just moving it. That's the thing. He's just under so much pressure.
And it's one of those things that VAR couldn't intervene with, even if the referee had got it wrong, because it was a yellow card as opposed to a red card. Sorry, Paul, we all interrupted you.
That's good. Talking about the events of the game, it's all good. It's interesting that people have different views on that one. It's quite. There were some quite strong views on the radio last night on that, and again, could have gone either way, but yeah, went for us that way. Unfortunately, we couldn't really capitalise on it, and the game sort of petered out. I think it was a fair result. It wouldn't have been unjustified if we won. So again, shows the performances are getting better. The team is beginning slowly to gel. Get into some rhythm again, playing a bit more attacking, fast-flowing football. One of the things I got a bit frustrated about Ipswich on Tuesday was whether it was caution, I'm not sure, but we were still a little bit too slow and too backwards. We give teams time to get back behind the ball and get back in shape, and that was quite noticeable on Tuesday when we thought we should be you get the ball on the halfway line and you should be going at them and just trying to catch them. We'd go back and try and start again, and it was better yesterday. And I think again that's maybe the wind behind them gives them confidence to attack. But yeah, we're definitely playing better now, which is good with the amount of games we've got coming up. And we've shown we can get points off these teams. We've got points off City. We've got points off Villa. We beat the Spurs. So the teams we've got coming up, they're tough games, but we shouldn't be as afraid of them as we were. But yeah, the team's playing well. And as I mentioned, Hughes in the game, I thought he was excellent yesterday. And at the start of the season, if everyone was fit, he'd have probably been my fourth choice midfielder. But really, the way he's playing, he's the first midfielder on the team sheet at the moment. And
I'm glad you brought the subjects up, because I wanted to come on to that. In fact, I've got a question for everybody out in the chat. A couple of things come up. Joel, what was your card for that you got when you played football? Is that the fact you get a card for sprinting yourself into some shorts, or actually you're going to run somewhere? Is that what the card was for? That was the first question. The second question to everybody else out in the chat is, can you please give me your opinion on who was yesterday's man of the match? Because Paul just alluded to mine, and I want to talk about Hughes in some more detail. He's one of the most frustrating players I've ever seen in a Palace shirt, because we know what he's going to give you. He's going to give you that yellow card every freaking game. Did he get booked yesterday? I didn't check. Did he get booked yesterday? No. So. But he did he gave us both goals, his assists. The guy is immense. Tony Quinn in the chat, I'm going to answer your question. Who's echoing? If you notice, we're leaving Gel on mute, and it goes away when Gel's on mute. It's not his fault. It's something to do with the line. But forgive us if you can hear a bit of feedback. But when Gel's on mute, it'll disappear. Paul, your man of the match.
Yeah, well, as I said, Hughes. I thought he was excellent. There was a couple of people who played really well yesterday. I thought Sarr had a good game. As I've said on the show in the past, I've never been his biggest fan, but I think he's doing the business at the moment and doing what we need him to do. He's being strong and pacey and causing problems. Again, Lacroix was very good at the back. I thought Mark played well. I thought Lerma played very well. As I say, if you're going to get points off City, you're going to have all your team's going to play well. But I thought Hughes was the standout player yesterday.
Anybody else? I've also got Daniel Munoz in my head. Tim, your thoughts on man of the match? You're on mute, mate.
That's Joel's fault, that is. No, I for me, it's Hughes or Lacroix.
Go on.
Yeah, Lacroix or Hughes.
Lacroix or Hughes. Joel, come off mute, mate. Who do you think?
The same thing. Lacroix or Hughes. I thought Lacroix was immense again yesterday. Very, very good. Now he realises he don't have to be David Beckham. He can give it to other players to do the stuff that, they're really magic stuff. But For me, I mean, I personally would have given it Hughes. I think he was fantastic.
Okay. And, I know I've gone purple, everybody, but don't worry about it. It's obviously my line. Okay, and everybody's actually agreeing with him. JP was great. Adam Marchbanks just said Hughes must be pushing for an England spot. Adrian, sorry, Marchbank. Mate, I think you need to lay off those drugs. Leave it alone, mate. It's not good for you. Just say no. Okay. Yeah, he's been very influential in a couple of our games recently, but the bar hasn't been particularly set high, has it? Paul.
I see. To be fair to them, I see Phillips on David has also put Mitchell. I thought Mitchell takes a bit of stick at times. I thought he had a very good game yesterday as well, and I think it probably needs to be called out on that one. But on the Lacroix thing, I was having a chat with my dad at the game yesterday, and I thought I'd raise a question.
You carry on with that, Paul. I'm going to just drop out. I'll be back in a sec.
Cool. So I thought I'd raise the question on here and see what the people in the chat think and what Joel and what Tim think. There was obviously a bit of criticism at the time. No one wanted to lose Anderson in the summer, but obviously there were reasons, financial reasons, not footballing reasons. And everyone knew the new guy was coming in, and they knew he'd take some time to settle. But if people were picking a team tomorrow and had to choose between Lacroix and Anderson, I'd be interested to know what people would think, because I've had a couple of different views. I'd personally be Lacroix all the way. I think, as Joel said earlier, I think the club have been proved right with what they did. I think Lacroix settled in brilliantly. But there's still a lot of Anderson fans, and I thought it would be quite an interesting question to see who would, if anyone would still go for Anderson over Lacroix.
And I say, and more interesting with that, with Chaddy to come back as well. Yeah, go on, Joe.
I'd take Anderson over him, I'm afraid.
Wow.
Yeah, really? I purely because look, it depends what you want from him. If you put Richards by Anderson, you've got a really solid. You can play a back four. Lacroix works in a back three. Anderson works in a back four. If you had a back three, he was left exposed because of his lack of pace. But we've never. I've only been watching since 1978, but I haven't seen anybody that to stand on a ball, have as much time as a centre back, and then ping a 65-yard ball to someone's toe every single week. You know, what we used to get when we had Ben Setley up front, was he'd go out left, the goalkeeper used to hoof it, and the ball used to go out, give them a throw straight away. It don't happen. As centre-backs get the ball, and we play out now. But, you know, Lacroix gives the ball away quite a lot. He didn't do that yesterday because he wasn't trying to be a Baresi. So, you know what I mean? He was just cutting, getting the ball, winning the ball, giving it to someone else. So, yeah, it's one of them. Yeah or no?
It's interesting, really, because I agree. I think Lacroix over Anderson. But what about Lacroix and Chalobah over Anderson? Go on, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, I'd have Anderson over Chalobah every day. I mean, I'd love the two of them to be paired together, but it's not that wasn't the question, and it's not the option. Like I say, this is nothing. I loved Anderson. I thought he was a great player for us. I'm not a selfie person. He's one of the few Crystal Palace players I've actually had a selfie with. I was that much of a fan of his. But looking back now, as I say, if I was picking a team tomorrow, I would pick Lacroix. I think he's pacier. Don't get me wrong. Anderson's distribution was brilliant, and he was a great player for us. But I think, personally, that'd be my choice out of the two. It's interesting to see in the chat some different views. It's quite
absolutely. I'm reading. I've just seen the answers on there.
There isn't much to pick between them. That's the beauty of it. But I think we're
So, Paul, with Chaddy coming back now, okay, and he's back in training. Your thoughts on our actual back three? The other thing I thought was interesting yesterday was the manager actually specified in his post-match interview when somebody asked him about Munoz. He said Munoz isn't a fullback. He's not a fullback. And he doesn't, because we don't play with the back four now. Jill, you mentioned back four. We don't play with the back four. We're a back three. And he said Munoz isn't a fullback. Your thoughts with where does Chaddy Rio fit into this?
I don't think he does at the moment. I think he was bought as Gay's replacement. I think everyone expected Gay to go, so I thought we saw him on a good deal and got him in. He did okay at the friendlies. He's had a couple of minutes for the first team before he got injured. I personally think I'd like to see Richards in the team ahead of Chalobah, but they're the top four. You got Richards and Chalobah. You got Lacroix. You got Mark. I think Chaddy will be fifth choice centre back. So. Yeah, he'll be on the bench and he'll be good cover. Probably play, maybe get cup games. He's not rotating much for the cup, which is probably good. Maybe he'll get the Stockport game or something. But yeah, he's like anything. He's got to wait for his chance again. But I can't see him forcing his way past those front four. I think we've got a very strong 4 centre backs at the moment.
Tim, same question to you. We've got Rhea coming back. We've got Chalobah. We've got Gehi. We've got Lacroix. Who are your favourite 3 out of those? Who starts?
Well, I think Chalobah, he's only here for the season and he's back to Chelsea. So for me, it would be Lacroix. I haven't seen enough of Riyad, though. That's the problem. I mean, he looked pretty good from what I saw, but I do like Richards. I think he's never let us down. Whatever position he's gone in, he's played really well. So for me at the moment, it would be Richards, Lacroix and Gehi. Gehi come January, who knows what he's going to do? So that could force the hand a bit, but that's my thinking.
Somebody else asked in the chat a couple of minutes ago. Forgive me, I don't know whose name. I didn't see whose name it was. Has anybody heard of any rumours, any potential signings for the January window? Normally by now the names are flying around like Billy-O, but I've not heard of anything. Paul.
Yeah, there's some talk about a Millwall winger midfielder that we're.
I did know.
Which would be quite an interesting one. Just back to Chalobah briefly. I think if we did let him go at the end of we will have to let him go back to Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea want him. They made it quite clear last year. They don't want to, so he won't be staying at Chelsea. He'll either be going out on loan somewhere. They'll probably want to ship him out. And again, it depends on what happens to Mark Gay. If Mark Gay goes and we can get Trevor Chalobah on a cut price deal, it's worth doing. He knows the club, he knows the team, he knows the manager. It would probably be a good signing. But again, all depends on probably Mark. But yeah, Chelsea certainly don't want him anymore.
Okay, cheers. And on the subject of Chalobah, Joe, have you been over in SA? That's his name. Jason, thank you, mate. I just said that. His name is not Eze, it's SA from Millwall. You're quite right. Your thoughts on Chalobah? Right?
Yeah, I thought we had him on a season's long loan with a view to buy it's nothing. I thought there was an option. Okay, well, whatever. I mean, I don't think I'll be surprised if he doesn't get sold in January, but I can see him going. The thing is, the club have got to make a decision, haven't they? And very, very shortly, because he hasn't signed again, is he? He hasn't signed a deal. No, so we're just not going to let him walk away. So and letting him go into the last season, that won't happen. I think the club will force his hand, and then we'll end up taking whatever. But yeah, I mean, Chalobah will get better and better. He's only a young player, so. But I think, yeah. I don't know. It's a squad game now, isn't it? I'm coming more and more round to the point where it's a squad game, and it's working for us at the moment, only because we've got a manager that's willing to take the chances and let players flourish. So, whether he stays or whether he goes, Gay is what it is, and whether Chadley's going to come through. He's definitely. I'm not sure if he can force his way in right now. I know people keep saying that Gay isn't going, but I'm telling you now, we've got a stand to play for. All right, the money's not ring fenced, no matter what you say. It's not 200 million quid sitting in someone's pocket. We're a club that's always having to do that. So someone will go soon. One of our big players will go. If he isn't it'll be Gay. It has to be. We've got to balance the books. So, and if we want to start bringing in 23-year-olds and putting them on 40 grand, getting rid of the 100 and something grand a week, then that's what we have to do. So, but yeah, he's what it is.
Well, Cherky from Lyon has been mentioned a couple of times. Do you know anything about him?
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, he's getting in the Lyon team ahead of Wilf at the moment. So whether that makes him a good player or not, we don't know at the moment with the way Wilf's sort of behaving by all accounts out there. Again, don't know too much about him, to be honest. All as we've said earlier, it's always baffled me why we leave it till the last day any transfer window, and the fact that Oliver has mentioned that as an issue. I would like to think anyone we do buy, we have in pretty sharpish in January. there's no point in waiting until the end of January. Really, it's I've always wanted to know what the logic is. We do it now. I mean, I said before on the show before we were videoing Eddie Nketiah on the Wednesday of the transfer week, then announced him on the Friday at 11 o'clock. So he couldn't play at the weekend anyway, even though he was in the building 3 days before. So why we hold on to these things, I don't know. But yeah, hopefully any players we do get will be in the first week, and they'll be a part of the January games.
Okay, and on this, you mentioned the W word, boys, a minute ago. Would you in January bring you back on loan? Zaha? Any of you? Anybody is a resounding, for the benefit of people listening on the pod, nobody said a word, but all three of them shook their heads and said no. Okay, we are a verbal podcast, gentlemen. Okay, so the actual words would have been useful. But anybody out in the chat, would you go with Wilf? And straight away, no, says Tony's, no, says Trevor. So a resounding no by the look of it. I don't know. What about Ayu? Do you take Ayu back on loan, Joe? Right, what we've got coming up, Luce, we've got some fixtures coming up. We've obviously got the big one on Sunday. It's that lot down there. If you're going down there on Sunday with us, okay, let's say hello, Andy Hop. I've just seen you out there. How you doing, mate? Good day to you down there. So we've got the big one on Sunday at 2 o'clock. That's Palace versus, I can't even bring my name to say their name. I just can't do it. If you're going down there, let us know in the chat you're going down there, because Paul and I will definitely be there. On Wednesday, we are away at, blimey, that's come round quick as well. 7:30 kick-off at the Emirates in the Carling Cup. I'll be there. Let us know if you're going to be there. And how many points are we going to get out of these games over Christmas, people? Don't forget, the pressure's off us a little bit now. We've taken 4 points this week. Oh, hang on. Let's go back, darling, please. Go back one. So we've got the Arsenal League game, the 21st of December at 5:30 kickoff. Then we're away at Bournemouth on the 26th on Boxing Day. Merry Christmas to you all. Home to Southampton on the 29th, and on the 4th of January, home that other lot over in West London that I can't abide. Okay, look at these points predictions come through. I haven't even asked these points predictions coming through yet. There is Daniel saying 13 points, Luke saying 12 points. We better play better than the last time at the Pringle Tin Pot Ground, says Paul Holden. Paul saying 12, Trevor saying 9. Okay, boys, and let's have your predictions. I can see them flying through. Guys, your thought process. Let's do the weed game first. Joe, how are we going to get on against Brighton? 1-1. Jill's going 1-1. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, we are a verbal podcast, but he's now resorted because of his echo down to sign language. Okay, Tim, your thoughts?
3-0 Palace.
Just say no. Just say no, Tim. For God's sake.
I am on some good drugs still. I do have to point it out.
Max is saying 10 points. Ian saying 5 points. Hang on, John comes here. Max is saying 1-1 against Brighton. The Seaweed says Phillips. Paul saying 2-2. Nigel Pratt saying 2-2. Lee saying 1-1. Daniel saying 3-0. Go on, Joe.
I'm just good to I was watching a game this afternoon, and it kept cutting to their game. I watched them throw away a 2-0 lead. It's a beautiful thing. But
yeah.
Oh, Nick's on mute.
We'll cover that in a second, John, because I was just reading through some of the Yaz is saying 3-2 to us. Well on Yaz. George, hello, George. 2-2. Steve saying 1-1. Paul saying 2-1. And Charlie's saying 2-1 to us as well. Now, before we went live, and John, before you joined us, Paul was telling us that he had great pleasure of trolling some of the North Stand chat, the Brighton chats, and apparently the wheels are falling off a little bit. Tell us what you read, Paul.
It's great. It's been great reading the last couple of weeks, to be honest. They're throwing their toys out there, pram left, right, and centre. Not happy, certainly, with the collapse today and the goals they were giving away at Fulham the other day. So yeah, it's not a happy camp down there, and there's a few people beginning to question it. Certainly, you look at some of their results this year, it gives us a bit of encouragement for next week. I mean, they've not beaten Forest, they've not beaten Ipswich, they've not beaten Southampton, they've not beaten Wolves at home. Obviously, they're not beating Leicester today, so I think we can go there with a bit. Certainly, the way we're playing, a bit more confidence. I still have nightmares about the last game there. So if I was offered a draw now, probably defensively, I'd probably take it. But they're there to be attacked. It's how we approach the game. I think if we can hit them fast and quick on the bait, that by all accounts, a lot of them are not happy with Dunk. He's lost all his pace, and their defence is a shambles. So we can win that game. It's just if we're brave enough to do it. So I'll probably predict a 1-1 though.
Lewis, Dunk is Tim. Your prediction for next Sunday, mate?
Again, same as last time, 3-0.
3-0. Oh yeah, have you already done yours? Yeah. Well, I'm going to go. I think I will go with the draw as well, and I would certainly take a point at this stage. It's one of those games where you know that they're going to be a little bit more nervous than we are about it, because we're expected to go down and get hammered because of their league position and everything else. Well, as Paul just alluded to, we are playing a little bit better. Okay, we are getting players back. Walton may be available for selection. Glaston's already said that. And they aren't playing as fluently as they were. Tony Quinn said, "Did Dunk ever have pace?" Yeah. Oh God, I forgot about that twat. I didn't even realise he was still playing for him, if I'm honest with you. Okay, I think we're going to call it. Paul, you did say you had something to talk about pre-show. Okay, talking point. Did I miss it when I dropped off?
No, I think we covered most of it. I mean, we could talk a bit about the Arsenal game. It's going to be quite interesting. It's going to be a good night for everyone who's going to that. We've sold nearly 7,000 tickets, I believe. And we're trying to work out the last time we've had that sort of following away from home other than at Wembley. And I remember we took 6,000 to Hillsborough, obviously, on the D-Day Sunday. I think we took 7,000 or 8,000 to Old Trafford in the Darren Ambrose game. But we don't often have that many fans at an away game. So it's going to be quite a night. Hopefully Arsenal won't be taking it with their strongest team. So I think we got a good chance of getting to the semi-final of the Cup, which would be quite a nice Christmas present. Other people's predictions for that would be interesting to see.
Yeah. So are you going to Highbury for that game, folks? Let us know in the chat. Your predictions for that game at Highbury, let us know in the chat. Lucy, the next show, please. I believe because it's Brighton is a Sunday game, we will be back on Monday, the 16th of December. I believe I'm in the share. Oh, actually, yeah, I've got a bit of news for you on that show, ladies and gentlemen, because we are having a huge panel because everybody wants to be involved because it's the Brighton game. The Glory Hunters like Holyoke and Lions are all coming out of the woodwork. Okay, so they'll be on. I can't remember who else is, but I think we got 6. Is it you on, Paul? Were you on?
Yeah, I'm on. I think Ian's on. Yaz is on.
Ian's on. Yaz.
Yeah.
Yeah. The professionals are on, and we got Ian Lyons and Jill Holyoke. So, ladies and gentlemen, it will be outstanding. Jill,
as long as you don't lose 4-1, it will be.
Eh?
As long as you don't lose 4-1, it will be outstanding.
Yeah, well, we'll have a laugh anyway. Beat the Gooners in the Cup. Eddie hat-trick. Eddie hat-trick. Right, okay. Oh, yeah, and Kessie playing against Arsenal. Cool. Yeah. That's a possibility, isn't it? Could be his first game, first goal for the club against his former club. Do you know what? I hadn't thought about that. Right. What about Budgie? There's a very good point there. Thank you, Lee. Only this afternoon did the silly sod text me. He said, "When are we doing the show, Nick?" And I said, because he said, "I'm currently in Singapore." And he said, "I'm available all this week." And a lot of it's down to Jim Cannon, because I'm waiting for him to confirm dates. The Budgie thing is happening, I promise you. Okay, it was only this afternoon did he message me and after. Right, we're going to draw a line on it because I'm sure most of you want to go watch the final of I'm Celebrity, don't you, Jill? Thank you for joining us. It's great to have you back. Giza, seriously, it's great to have you back. Any positives from you before we go?
Positives, yeah. I mean, what a great week.
There you go. Tim, give me a positive.
Yeah, like Joel said, playing good football, draw against the champions, and smash the weed next weekend.
And I've just been corrected by Paul Bristow. Of course, then Kessie scored when we went to QPR. Yes, indeed he did, because I was standing with you, mate. Paul, give me some positives.
As we've said all throughout the show, we're playing well. We're scoring goals. We're attacking well now. Players are playing up to their level. And, yeah, hopefully with tough games ahead, it's a good time to have some form behind us.
Cool. Listen, for those of you who are coming down with us on down to Brighton on Sunday, please stay safe. Okay, we'll be in the Spoons as normal. pre-game, and then we'll be making our way up to the ground early. I would suggest that you do the same. Stay safe. Make sure you stay with other people, and I wouldn't advise colours too much if I was you, because they do get a little bit, especially down in the town centre. It's not the best place to be wearing colours. So if you are going down there, come say hello to us. We'll see you there, and we'll also be back next Monday, 8 o'clock, doing a post-match review of the game. Lucy in the background, thank you very much. Tom Clark, Samuel, Jill, Paul, Tim, thank you for joining me tonight, guys. Have a safe week, and I'll see you soon. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.